hate this. I really hate this.
I've run DNA checks through all the outlets.
It is Jensen. Yes.
Nothing.
Agent Singh. Wasn't expecting to see you again. In civvies, at least.
Just passing through. I wanted to thank your team for the backup in Dubai. That sting went to hell faster than the storm did.
You're welcome. But I don't think you came all this way to say thanks.
Director Miller asked me to get Agent McCready up to speed. Now I have the red-eye flight back to Oman.
Headed into the field office there?
Not exactly. One of our black sites. I'll be dropped in as a captured enemy combatant. After I contact my fellow Jinn prisoners, I shall lead a very convenient escape.
Re-embedding with the Jinn. Aren't you taking a big risk, given everything that happened?
No choice. That ambush knocked everyone on their asses. TF-29, Bell Tower, the Jinn. To cover all the angles, I need to go back. Hopefully my cover is still good. You killing the signal booster at the hotel should help.
You're thinking the Jinn can get a beat on our gate crashers faster than TF-29.
Perhaps. They do not like loose ends. An augmented kill squad with military training. Have you ever seen anything like it?
Yeah, once. But it's a long story. Whoever they were, they knew exactly when the deal was going down. Any chance they were based locally, in Dubai?
No. After the incident, Dubai became the world's most luxurious tombstone. Perfect for the Jinn, but for no one else.
I thought human augmentation was frowned on in the Middle East. Why was Dubai hit so hard?
Because it was another world. Two other worlds, in fact. One of extreme augmentations in gold or crystal, and one of thousands of workers outfitted for construction. Then, that day.
I know.
No, Agent Jensen, you could not. Some called it divine punishment. But that day was not the work of a merciful God.
Did we get anything out of the cleanup operation?
Mostly corpses. Heavily augmented, as you know. Under those gold masks, they were ID scrubbed. No prints, no dentals, no DNA match. Professional.
Could still be ex-Bell Tower. Plenty of men and material went AWOL after the incident. A competing faction that listened in on Shepard's sale.
It's a possibility. The audits and investigations of Bell Tower will go on for years before we know how many rats jumped from that ship. At least we recovered the weapons. Unlisted. High spec. Military-grade augmentation. Enough to build another couple of you. That is a joke.
Right. It's the world we live in. Anyone with an exemption to the weaponized augment ban is a useful tool. Or a terrorist. I don't envy what you've got ahead of you.
Actually, I'm looking forward to it. The truth is, when you've been under for long enough, you only feel like an imposter out here. In the real world.
Yeah, I understand the feeling.
You'd think one of them would pop up on some list somewhere.
The city's still reeling in the wake of a devastating terror attack. Dozens were killed and hundreds more injured yesterday when bombs...
I've run DNA checks through all the alphabet agencies. Nothing.
I do not need to remind you folks that this is the third such attack to strike Prague in 6 months. All of them occurring after Dr. Talos Rucker, leader of the Augmented Rights
These guys might as well be
took
ghosts.
up residence in the neighboring Foodland complex. Dr. Rucker claims his organization is peaceful,
I guess the
and
trend
merely
is
seeks to ensure the rights of the augmented in a world that has turned against them.
I've run DNA checks through all the alphabet agencies. Nothing.
Act in a matter of weeks. Could the good doctor be changing his tune? Your guess is as good as mine. This is Eliza Kassan, reporting to you live from Picus.
This is so weird.
Picus News, the global leader in fair, unbiased, and impartial reporting.
Agent Jensen!
And now for a close
hate
look at
this.
the
I really
events
hate
making
this.
headlines around the world.
You'd think one of them would pop up on some list.
Access granted.
Dr. Talos Rucker, leader of the Augmented Rights Coalition.
These guys might as well be ghosts.
The organization is peaceful and merely seeks to ensure the rights of the augmented in a world that has turned against them.
Look, I'm going as fast as I can.
Delegation set to debate the Human Restoration Act in a matter of weeks.
It
I've
is
run
Jensen.
DNA checks through all the alphabet agents.
This is my third overtime shift this month.
This is Eliza Cassan.
I guess the Transit Authority isn't in as much of a hurry as you are then.
There was another attempt to breach our firewall last night.
You have an outside call cleared and waiting. Caterina Newman to Agent Cruz's office. Agent Doyle, report to Agent Cruz. It's gonna take them a while. Fully urgent. Urgent. Caterina Newman to Agent Cruz. Agent Doyle, report to Agent Cruz. Fully urgent.
The LZ is totally overrun.
We're exposing big money critters.
Access granted.
We never got an official okay from the Indonesians, so...
Our portable data station, massive storage capacity, flexible screen, and over 1,000 other unique
Exfil is impossible. The LZ is totally overrun.
up in the stratosphere. Back to New York and
Access granted.
Maybe the connection is that there is no connection. That's fucked up.
Access granted.
Maybe whoever's in charge doesn't want anyone to feel safe. Is it or is it not a probable target? They've been everywhere for the past week.
Hey, Agent Jensen. Nice work in Dubai. But still, you know what I want to know is who those ogged-up guys in the gold masks were. I'll be compiling all the case files, and as soon as I know anything, it'll be up on the board.
Maybe the connection is that there is no connection. Is that fucked up? Consistent with the train station.
Our arms dealer Shepard, aka John Trent, is a former Special Forces commander and ex-Bell Tower operative. And as is typical for those ex-Bell Tower employees, he's been selling off old Bell Tower tech and weapons. But we don't need to worry about him anymore. He was killed by those gold mask guys in Dubai.
Cute. But they're never going to beat the time.
I would have thought you'd had your fill of these guys since Dubai, Jensen. The Jinn, a group of smugglers led by twin brothers Salar and Wazim Alam. Their exact base of operations is unknown, but it's most likely in Muscat, Oman. The brothers Alam have been in operation since 2020, and have greatly expanded their operations since then, recruiting mercenaries, ex-military, nationalistic agitators, and other colorful criminal agitators from Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and the surrounding region. They deal in drugs, weapons, medical implants, augs, and they occasionally throw in some human trafficking.
We're comparing notes. If we don't learn the way these people think, we'll never track them down.
This guy is the face of the Jinn, and a charismatic force of nature. They call him the Bull of the North, and the Heart of the Jinn. Real name Salar, works in conjunction with his cold and calculating brother, Wasim, who saved his life during the Aug incident. He is proudly augmented and parades his Augs around wherever and whenever he likes. The hatred of Augs from groups around the world has only emboldened him and his organization.
It'd be easier if someone would just step up and do it.
Ah, Wasim Alam, the head of the Jinn, former limb clinic doctor and surgeon before he turned to more profitable enterprises. He brings the same cold and calculated approach he brought to saving lives to running his business with his brother, Salar.
Maybe whoever's in charge doesn't want anyone to feel safe.
Ah, Agent Singh, great poker player. I still owe him 100 credits.
Just wish
so I hope his
someone would nut
incursion
up and
with the
take the
Jinn
blame.
lasts another few months. You know, maybe he'll forget I owe him the money. Purity First is an anti-aug group dedicated to keeping humans human, all pure, no augmentations. In their obsessive pursuit of this goal, they have taken extreme measures and are suspected of being responsible for multiple acts of breaking and entering, vandalism, and theft. On occasion, they've even become violent, being implicated in several assaults and murders as they push for their goal of human purity. They've been quiet since the incident. Oh, here we go. The Diwali crime family. As you may already know, they're one of the largest crime syndicates in Eastern Europe, but they do business almost everywhere, from Northern Europe all the way to the Middle East. After their humble beginnings in a coastal town in Georgia, the Diwali quickly moved from gambling to more lucrative criminal enterprises, till they found their specialty, smuggling, which includes human trafficking too. The Diwali can get anything to anywhere. It's as if borders just don't exist to them. But their rapid expansion came at the cost of their Georgian purity, when they started incorporating an ever-increasing number of Russians into the group. If you ask me, I think a major power struggle is coming within the Diwali. One of the old versus the new. The past versus the future. Ah, the elusive Radic Nikoladze. This guy's a piece of work. Driven and ruthless. When he came up, he was the youngest boss in the Diwali crime family. The man spends more money on suits than most people spend on their houses. But don't let the looks and the haute couture fool you. He's the boss, he's in control, and he's squashed more than a few people who've tried to take him down along the way.
I'd rather not say what this reminds me of.
The classic Diwali structure has two spies, or pakhans, working for the lieutenant who report directly to the boss, to make sure he stays the boss. Those guys are pretty violent.
Composition could tell us a lot, but it's the
Diwali
trigger that
called
really
this
does the
guy
talking.
Constantine. Like that's supposed to be intimidating, right? We don't have a last name for Constantine, but until his death in the Rizika bombing, he was a high-placed member of the Diwali
Preemptive
crime
action would be
family,
great if
answering
we
to
were
Otar Botkavelli. We suspect he has lots of connections in the upper echelons of the organization, all the way up to Radic Nikoladze and beyond. Between you and me,
I'd
I
love to get a
suspect
look
that he's
at
a
the boss
Pakhan,
myself,
a
but
spy that
it's
watches the
nice.
Diwali lieutenant closely to make sure he doesn't make a move on the boss. Otar Botkavelli. This guy's a classic. They don't make many like him anymore. Sharp mind, a real businessman. One of those gangsters who thinks that crime is a necessary evil, you know? If it's gonna happen, he's there to make sure people have respect and make good money. Good business. Otar's right-hand man is this guy, Vano. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, if you know what I mean, but he's strong and loyal, something Otar values greatly.
Do it.
You've heard of these guys. ARC, or the Augmented Rights Coalition. They're a human rights group who, on the surface at least, is trying to provide equal rights for augmented people. It was started by Dr. Talos Rucker, soon after the AUG incident when Rucker started to speak out against the anti-AUG legislation that was being passed by several local governments. If you ask me, it's not working. Things seem to be getting worse. ARC preaches non-violence, but a string of terror attacks has put them on the terror watch list. So I'll let you be the judge. Dr. Talos Rucker, former limb clinic doctor and current leader of the Augmented Rights Coalition. Rucker has chosen to leave his native Germany and to live in the Utilek complex near Prague as a protest to draw attention to the upcoming Human Restoration Act vote. Rucker is a pacifist and believes that what is happening in Prague is what will happen all over the world if the Restoration Act becomes law. You know as much as I do about these guys. They're augmented, well-trained, and very dangerous. And they seem to be massing weapons and AUGs for some sort of attack. We don't know what yet. Samizdat is an underground news outlet that likes to think of itself as the real news. They are anti-establishment and anti-almost everything else, including business addresses, so we like to keep our eyes and ears open for any mention of them. Here we go, the Church of the Machine God, and to some, the Church of the Machine, without the God. And then again, to others, the Singularity Church of the Machine God. This group has so many names and subgroups, it's hard to keep track. And believe it or not, they've been around in one form or another since the early 1970s. There are a lot of contradictory reports on who they are and what they want, but in general, they all want the same thing. They want to merge their consciousnesses and become one with the machine god through a ritual they call Ascension. Janus. I mean, what can you say about him? Or her. Nobody really knows who or what Janus is. But what many believe is that Janus is running the most dangerous hacking group in the world, attacking corrupt politicians and businesses on a global scale. The corporate world is terrified of Janus. There's a rumor that the Church of the Machine God is building a machine that will help bring forth the Singularity. Sure, I guess that's a possibility. I'm just not sure what they would plug that machine into. The Church of the Machine God has a leader, but all we know about her at this point is that she's a woman, and they call her Mother. That's creepy, right? I think that's really creepy. The New Sons of Freedom, or NSF, is a small group of militant constitutionalists and secessionists operating in the continental United States, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. The group was formed as a reaction to the American government's increasingly authoritarian regime. NSF is committed to fighting the influence and control of a group of unknown people they believe to be the Illuminati with strategic guerrilla warfare strikes. They are suspected of having ties with Janus and the Juggernaut Collective.
Step up and do it.
Ah, what to say about the Juggernaut Collective that isn't speculation. A bunch of their members were running operations out of Montreal in 27, resurfacing for a while in 28. You heard of the Rifleman Bank Station? Bell Tower? Anyway, the Collective is a group of hacker activists, or hacktivists. Oh my god, I hate that word. Dedicated to the cause of freedom. At least that's what they say, or what their actions appear to say. They fight corruption by exposing hypocrisy and protecting the unprotected. No one knows the real power structure inside of the Collective, but there is one name that echoes over the darknet, and that name that echoes even louder than Hex, and you can talk to Peter Chang if you don't believe me, that name is Janus. And some say Janus runs everything, while others think there is no Janus.
Thanks. Keep digging.
Access granted.
Maybe whoever's in charge doesn't want anyone to feel safe.
Access granted.
Maybe the connection is that there is no connection. Is that fucked up? Maybe whoever's in charge doesn't want anyone to feel safe.
Preemptive action would be great if we were started.
I've been scrubbing through garbage for hours. Keep digging.
Jensen, we need to talk. My god, Jensen, I heard about the explosion. We should relocate. I was thinking we could corner Director Miller together. Tell him it's not safe enough here.
We're fine, Chang.
The police station, the train station, we're next. I can feel it. I can more than feel it, I can see it happening.
No one knows where we are. There's no reason to get paranoid.
That's where you're wrong. They're trying to pull the lid off of us, Jensen, or someone is. Praha Dovos just got hacked.
Our building's front company. Thought it was fake.
I wish it was fake. Miller's got me cleaning up IntelliCam footage from the attack to help figure out who these people are. Meanwhile, maybe they're trying to figure out who we are? Why else poke into an import company?
You think someone's figured out that the company's a front? Maybe they know what's really down here.
We have a lot of enemies. The people who bombed the train station. You don't think they'd love to know where we are? You need to help me figure out who's looking into us and make them stop.
I'm gonna need more information about this snoop of yours.
I don't know for sure that our cover's been blown, but if it has, we need to know before our enemies have a chance to do something about it.
What can you tell me about our front company?
Praha was designed to be forgettable. The kind of place you walk by 100 times and still can't remember.
It obviously caught someone's attention. What happens if we're compromised?
My guess, we dismantle and disappear. Agents go into hiding, Director burrows into some hole, poof, no Christmas party.
You really think there's a risk here? Maybe someone's just poking around the fake website of a fake company.
If someone points a gun at me, I assume it's loaded. If someone hacks into the website of the company that serves as our cover, I assume they're doing it for a bad reason.
Such as?
Everything depends on who they are and what they know. But we're in the business of dealing with terrorists. If those terrorists find out where we are...
TF-29 likes its privacy.
Sure. More importantly, Chang likes being in one piece. Unlike you, I don't just brush off explosions.
You got an MO in this hacker?
At first I thought it might be the Collective.
But you're not convinced.
Not Janus's style to leave crumbs this big. But whoever it is, they risk exposing us. If the Collective ever found out where we operate... My God, Jensen.
Maybe Janus knows already.
Hey, don't say shit like that. I get nervous enough as it is. I need you to find out as much as you can about our Snoop. Make sure we're not in danger.
All right. You have any leads?
I traced our hacker Snoop to an unrented apartment. Top floor, 33 Hlavny. Just down the street. This guy walks by us every single day. Probably walks in.
You're kidding.
See? You feel it now. The constant buried alive feeling. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we were supposed to be suspicious of things that go on outside these walls.
It's never that simple.
Just get into that apartment, access the computer they used, and find out what you can. And be careful, Jensen. We don't know who we're dealing with.
I'll look into it. As soon as I know something, so will you.
Smart move. They don't want to be caught in the dragnet.
Maybe whoever's in charge doesn't want it.
Access granted.
Is it or is it not a probable target? It'd be
I'd rather
easier
not
if
say
someone would
what
just
this
step
reminds
up
me
and
of.
do it.
Negative. They're saying it was multi-wired. Fully urgent.
Access granted.
Maybe whoever's in charge doesn't want anyone.
Causing gridlock
Maybe
for
whoever's
hours.
in charge doesn't want
Preventing
anyone.
life-saving medical transport.
Maybe the connection is no
They committed massive
For crying out loud.
packed combat drones attacked Stealthy.
It'd be easier if someone would just step up and do it.
Hey, Adam. Hey, Adam, hang on a sec. Filling out supply request forms for McCready and his boys is tedious as hell, but I don't want to give him another reason to say no.
Say no to what?
Are you kidding me? Right now, you're the only active augmented agent we have. I'm hoping to change that, been asking him every week practically, but so far, permission denied.
Really? He give you a reason?
Says my stress levels are too high. Told me I should sign up for meditation classes and drag Chang in with me so he'd chill out and stop changing security codes all the time. It sucks because I really wanted to find out who those crashers in Dubai were.
You were saying your stress levels were affecting your chances of becoming a field agent. Why is that?
I have a rare resistance to neuropozyne. I need more than the average person, especially in stressful situations. They say I'd be too expensive, so it's not just discrimination. That would be easier to deal with. It's a combination of things.
Well, that combination of things is pretty bad in Prague, and getting worse.
I know, but Interpol was the only agency who would give me a chance, and this is where I was assigned. I have no problem with that. I'll take whatever they throw at me.
Good.
It took me months of rehabilitation, getting used to the new arm, learning how to shoot again, learning how to tie my own boots. But I did it, and I'm better than I was before. I want to help, and I can. My place is out there in the field where I can make a difference. You know that. And if you can do it, so can I.
Don't give up, Aria. Semper Fi.
Hoorah.
After the bombing, when Chang changed all the locks and codes, was he under orders? Was there a credible threat to our location?
Maybe, but I don't think so. You know how he gets. Still, he wasn't the only one overreacting this time. A lot of people have been here for over 36 hours, and the state police have not exactly been cooperative.
I can imagine.
It took several hours before we got the security footage from the train station and surrounding streets. It's like they don't trust Interpol. It's weird. I can almost understand Chang's paranoia.
Well, Chang doesn't trust anyone, especially anyone in law enforcement.
Well, if you thought he was high-strung before, the attack only made him more manic. He's making connections no one else sees, and some that may not be there.
Explosions tend to damage things like sensitive electronic equipment.
Right? Try telling him that.
I still can't believe Miller gave the gold mask case to McCready.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. You were there too. You're probably as pissed about those guys getting the drop on the team in Dubai as McCready is. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been there. Agent Singh might have been killed.
Well, I better let you get back to work.
Yeah, sure. Talk to you later. Hey, Adam.